Alright, so today we're going to be going over my handheld collection, all of which happens to be Nintendo. I never really did get to collect for any other system handheld. I did want a Sony PSP, Vita, stuff like that. It just never worked out. As a kid, I couldn't really afford a Game Gear. My buddy had one. I barely ever got to play it, but I did play it, and there were some others. But essentially, I've always gone Nintendo when it comes to handhelds. Now, recently we just did a Switch review, if you want to go check out the Switch review, and also did starting a Switch collection video in 2022. If you guys came by for that, we appreciate it. If you haven't checked it out and you want to, go check it out here on our site, here on Brothers Forge Gaming. So that's a recent addition. We're not really going to cover that one, but what we are going to do today is cover my different Game Boys that I've collected over the years. And yes, these are all my original hardwares here that I've had. Original Game Boy there. I think something's going on with the screen. And we got games, we got accessories, so we're going to go into that. Now, similar to what I did with the last review, I'm going to cover my collection, and then I'm going to do kind of a review of each one in a separate video. So try to keep it more manageable for those of you that would like to see it that way. It'll be done. Let me know what you guys think about that. Would you rather see it all in one video? Would you rather see it separate or whatnot? Okay, so by this time, those of you that are in the retro gaming field are probably pretty familiar with most of this stuff here. There's lots of great videos out there on YouTube here for different various ones. Personally, I've never really actually collected for handheld stuff. As a kid, I had a Game Boy, right? And I liked that, so I picked up some of the other ones. There's a ton of stuff I don't have, all the SPs, all the different Game Boy Color ones, all the different variations of this and that throughout the years. This is, basically what I have, and like I said, I don't really actively collect for it, but you still end up with a ton of stuff. So we got games, accessories, all that fun stuff we're going to take a look at in this video. Okay, so, I know, get your chuckles out of the way if you haven't already. I have a pink Nintendo DS. Alright, I had bought that for my mom, okay, you guys, and ultimately I inherited it after she didn't want it anymore. Because, she's nice and she gave it to me. So, what we're going to do though, we're going to start original Game Boy here. Now this thing I got in, what was it, like 1989, whenever the darn thing came out. Grew up loving Nintendo. And, Sega's awesome too, had a Sega Genesis, but had to get into the handheld market. I always wanted those Tiger handhelds and stuff. You saw them at Toys R Us. We could, my mom would never really spring for them. I played them, people had them. I didn't really own them. There were some awesome ones like Double Dragons and different Mega Man ones and stuff that were the handheld Tiger handhelds, and that's a whole nother beast to try to collect for. Really, like I said, I don't ultimately collect handheld stuff, not that I don't enjoy it, but I do prefer the big screen and a controller and all that. But it is nice to be able to have the portable stuff, and that was one thing I talked about with the Switch. It's kind of nice to have that, but in a lot of ways it's almost seemingly making a lot of this obsolete. However, you always want to have the original stuff because you never know what's going to get ported, how it's going to get ported, if it's going to be available. Do you really want to buy all this stuff again if you already own it? Or, hey, this might be a better way to go for you. Maybe you don't have any of this stuff and you're relying strictly on the Switch store. One problem we are facing in modern gaming is that once the port for those stores drop off, you may lose access to all of your digital content. Keep that in mind, guys. So pick up some of this stuff. And like a lot of media, not all of it gets ported. Okay, so there's some great games here. We're going to get into that, show you all that different stuff. There's quite a few, and they're small, so that'll be a big portion of the video at the end if you guys want to stick around for that. Okay, so next we have the Game Boy Advance. I got this thing when I worked at Blockbuster. It was a rental or something. I bought it on the cheap. Got this case for it, a bunch of games. This thing here is pretty cool. Alright, this takes me back. And again, like I said, I'm going to break down the review on that later. So we're going to talk about each system and kind of the ins and outs of each one of those, okay? And then right here, my newest acquisition besides the Switch, I didn't have a 3DS. I wanted to get a 2DS, but those were pricey because I don't much care for the dual screen as much, and the 2DS really is all I need, and I liked that bigger screen on there. So I wanted to get one of those. It was like $300. I'm like, screw it, I'm just going to get a Switch. I was hoping it would come down in price, but I'll leave that open. But yeah, anyway, if you haven't seen it, thing here. Watch out for that hinge. Alright, and then, the screens and stuff, especially if your kids get a hold of them. My daughter grabs this thing all the time. If your kids get a hold of them, they get gunked up pretty quickly. But yeah, so there's a look at that. So we got the DS, got the Game Boy, got the 3DS, got the Advance, and that's a look at my hardware. Let's get into some of the software. Alright, so now the part you've all been waiting for. Let's move on to these games. There are quite a few. We're going to start with Inbox, Game Boy, move on to Loose, Advance, DS, And that's how it's going to roll. We won't spend too much time with these. I'm sure that most of you are rather familiar with a lot of this stuff. Now, I didn't really collect, like I said, Game Boy games growing up. I would play them and such, but I felt like whenever they would release a game on Nintendo or Super, they'd release it on Game Boy and it was the same game. And that's so far from the truth. But that's what you get for being a dumb kid. Right? But anyway, here we go. Super Mario Land 2. There are 1 and 2 on the Game Boy. Excellent, excellent games. This is probably my favorite Game Boy game out there, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. I know there have been several remakes of that one, so I never really was able to get into these two right here. I can show them together if it fits in the screen. Nice. They have something to do, like you played through them and did certain things and switched them back, or the save files, something to do with that. It was pretty cool that they were doing that back then. And then, of course, Final Fantasy Legend and Adventure. Really good Game Boy games there. So that's my inbox. Not a lot. Let's move on to the carts. Okay, so this one you can't really see. It's Castanellia. You can get this on the NES as well. It's kind of like a castle 3D puzzly game. This is probably I think this is the first game I got with my system. I was actually rather disappointed. I don't remember if it came with the system or that was like the one game to buy was that one. It's a cool game. Of course, classic. Dig Dug. Should probably get closer in on these carts here, huh? So there we go. Dig Dug, a classic. Wasn't ported to the NES, which is sad, but you can get it on Game Boy. We got a quick review on that if you want to check it out. It does have a couple different modes on there that are interesting. So there you go. Barbie Pet Rescue. See if we can get a little closer in there. Haven't played that one yet. Got that one for the kids. You idiot, man! Stimson J. Cat. Rinhuick. You fat, bloated idiot! Right? Video's here. It's log. It's better than bad. It's good. You gotta have yourself some Ren and Stimpy in your life. R-Type, one of the hardest games. You can get this on the Master. I don't know about the DX version, but it's tough as nails on the Master System. A little more approachable on the Game Boy. I like the black carts. Alright, Madden 2000 on the Game Boy. Didn't know that was a thing. But there it is. Boggle. If you're into that. Boggle. And then, of course, everybody's favorite twins from the 90s. Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Growing up, I thought they were the same person. I was like, oh, that's a weird name to have, right? Find out they're twins later on down the road. This is a cool game right here. Anytime you can get Mickey. It's just so classic. Yeah, there's a lot of them, and they kind of seem watered down at times, but it's worth playing them just to check them out. They're really cool games, and they just don't make the Disney games like you want them to do. I think this is Tech Mobile, which on Game Boy Color is awesome. Midway making it at the time, though. It's either Tech Mobile or maybe it's Blitz. I don't know, the label's peeled off. Here is a sleeper, hidden gem, smash hit. Those of you unfamiliar with Heroes of Might and Magic, we actually have a play. There's 2 of these you can get. We have a play of it up if you want to check it out on our site. Super good game. The only port to system that I know of are to the 2 that came to Game Boy, unfortunately. I think they were supposed to develop one for Saturn or 3DO or something like that, and unfortunately it never got made, and that would have been frickin' amazing. Kind of like the Saturn got a port of Warcraft 2, which is awesome to be able to play that on console, because who has an old computer that can run those games anymore? Not me. And of course, Kirby's Dreamland. It's just classic. Classic stuff here. There we go. Cubert, one of the original, kind of arcade games. One of the originals I played. Speaking with Kirby, we got Kirby's Dreamland. The original. This is my favorite version of Kirby. The Nintendo one is really good, but this is the one I grew up playing, the one I love the most. All others, I'm basically feeling like I should just play that. There's some other good ones too. Marble Madness, what to be said. Classic, difficult arcade-style game. Here we have the other Super Mario Land original one. What sucks about a lot of these games is they do not play on the Game Boy player. The Super Game Boy, I should say. The one that goes into your Super, which is the one I have. I do not have the Game Boy player for GameCube, unfortunately. It is quite a bit, and, just one of those things that I'd like to get one, but, Anyway, Space Madness! Great game right there. Classic childhood memories. We got Battleship. Very nice. And like I said, it's fun to get the different color carts, the black carts. I don't know if it's just black, and then the ones from Game Boy Color and stuff. This game, again, this is kind of like that Boomer game I was talking about. It was one of the original games I had on Game Boy. And puzzle games are cool or whatever, but you want to play Power Rangers and shit when you're a kid. You don't want to play frickin' puzzle games, and I don't know why parents would buy those for you, but it has Yoshi on the front, so, it's like false advertising or something in a way. Here we go, Power Rangers. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It's just a good all-around game. I think there are very few ungood Power Ranger games. There's like a racing game that's not very good, but I'm sure if you play it enough, you can find it out. Road to El Dorado. That's a fun one. And then this is probably one of the top series on any console. You've got Game Boy versions of Castlevania. These games are actually really tough if you want a tough game to play. And here's a look at my Game Boy Advance. Loose Carts. Fortress, actually not a bad game if you enjoy kind of like random tower defense games. Of course, Earthworm Gym. Thanks, Paula, for writing your name all over the cross of that. Here's a DBZ game. Can't really read the label on that one. Start off with my bad labels. Island Extreme. You know, I haven't played that one. Of course, a classic. F-Zero. Can't go wrong with F-Zero. At any time, any place, anywhere. Another classic. Bomberman. Boom, boom, boom. Always a fun party game. The way it works with Game Boy Advance, you can link and do some fun stuff with that too. Most Game Boys you can do some kind of linking. Of course, Spyro. If you guys like Spyro games, this one's actually one of the more affordable Spyro games that's available to you out there. So if you want, grab that one up. We're going to get into some of these fun ones. Sabrina! There's so many cool games like this on Game Boy Advance. There's actually some kind of similar to the PSP. I don't think they're called UMDs, but they're movies that plug into the Advance. I have some Pokemon, some Spongebob. Really cool stuff, and they were cheap for a while, so I imagine they're probably a lot more now, but I should have got more of those. I just generally don't invest too much in Game Boy Advance, but now that I have kids, I wish I would have bought those because they could watch those episodes. Because if you guys haven't noticed, it's getting a lot harder to watch things without being subscribed to every other single station's streaming network, which is pretty irritating. And even YouTube is hard to find stuff on anymore. We got Beyblade right there. Harry Potter! Some of these games aren't bad, actually. They're very RPG elements in them. Kind of like, you know, like a Zelda game, but with Harry Potter. This one is actually interesting in the sense that there was a kind of a cult following for this one. Like a Super Smash Bros. Melee kind of audience went to this and kind of formed like a fringe group of fighting. Kind of cool, kind of like there's a Weapon Lord if you guys ever played that on the 16-bit era. Kind of cool game. There's kind of a scene for that as well, underground scene for that fighting game as well, similar to the Shrek one. Not mainstream. Pac-Man Collection, always good to have that one. Take a look at Pac-Man Collection. Okay, Cats! You gotta get Cats. No, it's not like the musical. Although maybe it is. And then, That's So Raven, yeah! So like I said, there's a lot of good classic TV 90s, like early 2000s sitcom stuff on Game Boy Advance, which is one of the main reasons I like it. Super Street Fighter Puzzle, Super Puzzle Fighter 2, Street Fighter Puzzle Fighter, whatever the heck you want to call this thing. That's one of the staples to have on the Game Boy Advance or any system. I think you get it on PlayStation 1. Really good on the Advance. Okay, this is a game, a gem if you ask me. Mario Pinball Land, super cool, especially if you like pinball. If you like Mario, that is a really good time right there and inexpensive. Okay, these next series there's a good amount of these pocket style Yu-Gi-Oh games. This one's interesting in that it's a little bit different. Yu-Gi-Oh Dungeon Monsters. I do recommend this one. It's a little bit different than your typical Yu-Gi-Oh game. It offers some more variety for you there. Okay, and then there's Duel Academy. This is kind of more like your standard kind of like Pokemon game that you would experience with Yu-Gi-Oh style. Okay, good one. Take a look at that cover there. Then we have, my old man eyes can't read this, but I believe it's Yu-Gi-Oh Worldwide Edition. And these games were actually relatively inexpensive for a super long time on the Game Boy Advance. So I don't know if you can still find them that way. But anytime you see Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon or anything like that, Pokemon's a little more well-known, but anytime you see those big-name games, you should grab them up. Okay, here we go. That one's Yu-Gi-Oh! Destiny Board Trainer or something. I can't read it. This one's actually really cool too. I recommend this one and Dungeon Keep one. And then here's a game from PS2, Duel Masters. I found out that it was also on Game Boy Advance, and then you can get the sequel to it. Plays very similar. If you like games, digital, or well, trading card games like Magic the Gathering, stuff like that, you will enjoy these games. Very good. And then, like I said, there's a sequel available if you get it on the Game Boy Advance that I don't believe was ported to any other platform. So there you go. Those are two gems to grab up there. And then, of course, Golden Sun. I believe there's been other printings of this one on Game Boy. Advance, but this is the original one. Very traditional RPG in a lot of ways. Awesome game. If you haven't played it, check it out. So good. And then, of course, Castlevania. This is one of the flagship kind of like staple games for the handheld genre. These are like Symphony of the Night clones. There's several of these on Game Boy Advance that are just excellent. So that gives you, I think there's 3 or 4 games that are really similar in that Symphony of the Night style. This being one of them. Circle of the Moon. There's a couple. I don't know if that's the more expensive one or not. There's a couple. One of them is a lot more expensive and less, affordable. But they're both pretty pricey. Totally worth it. There is a collection you can get out on modern console right now. The digital GB Game Boy Advance collection for Castlevania is not bad. It's like $20. So if you want to play those games that way, you can, or you can get them on the original. And then of course, NES Classic Series. There's a good amount of these Classic Series ones. Keep an eye out for them. They don't seem like they would be as valuable as they are, but they really are. Sometimes you can find them on the cheap. But this is a cool way to play those games. And then whatever this is, expansion pack, I don't know what this does. I have no idea. I like installed it. I don't think it did anything. So I don't know. Maybe you have to have some kind of online service to use it. But I have it. I found it. I grabbed it up. What I'm going to do is set these all up for you so you can see them in a broad stroke range. Alright, so that's a look at that. I'm going to grab out the ones in here that are kind of my gems of this. Of course, basically these ones at the top. Earthworm Gym. So I have a lot of decent games. Spyro. I have a lot of decent games here on Game Boy Advance. Some fun ones. And then, some shovelware, some other stuff that's decent. So, most of these here, really solid. Let's get a closer look at that. Zoom in on my better titles there. And then on a side note, there are some games that I accidentally left in my machines and left omitted from the actual parts of those collections. So here we go. Pretty straightforward one. Super Mario Land, 3DS, 3D Land, Super Mario 3D Land, whatever the hell this thing's called. You can get it on Wii U, Switch, DS. This is actually a really cool one that I'm a little bummed I missed out on showing you guys here. Pack and Roll. This is a fun game. Keep an eye out for that. Anytime you see Pac-Man, it's always good. And then, of course, classic Game Boy. Solar Striker is not a bad shooter. It's pretty straightforward. Real simple kind of Galaga-style game in a lot of ways. And, of course, a classic. This is my favorite way to play Tetris is on the Game Boy. It's so good. It's the best. Plus the System Link. It's just the best way to play Tetris. Although I really do like the NES version. And then, of course, Bart Simpson, Escape from Camp Deadly. These Simpson games, kind of a dime a dozen, but they are cool to have, especially looking back. Just the artwork and stuff like that. The games are pretty hard to play, but they're fun. And I love just, the Simpsons and being in that environment. Way to go. Get them all. Get all the games, even though they're terrible. You may play through them and have some good nostalgia kicks on those. Alright, well that covers it for my Game Boy Advance. Some good titles in there. Not a lot. Quality over quantity, right? Something like that. Here's a look at my DS inbox. There might be a few 3DS mixed in there as well. Anyhow, here we go. Mario Party DS. Classic, okay? Can't go wrong with Mario Party. Prince of Persia, actually a pretty good game for a DS game. Not a bad... It's different than the console versions as well. Iron Chef America! I don't know why I bought that. I don't know. A lot of these, like I said, I got a DS for my mom for her birthday or something one year. A lot of these are games that she had and that I inherited. So that's a fun game if you like kind of like solving puzzles, looking around, kind of Sherlock Holmes style games. This, I have loose. I actually have a sealed copy of this and a loose copy of this. I believe this is a 3DS game. Puzzle Dragon, excellent game. If you just have to get it. It's kind of hard to explain. It's really good. It was like a game that Nintendo ended up picking up because it did so well, like a mobile game, and then they added like Mario guys to it. Indiana Jones. Anything Lego is always fun. Here's another Professor Layton game. So again, these ones not necessarily for me, but if you like those style games, this is awesome. This is an awesome game right here. You get, I believe, can get these on the Wii, versions of this on the Wii, the Wii U, and the Switch. One thing Nintendo loves to do is reprint their games. Triforce Heroes, that's a fun one. Okay, I think that's a co-op multiplayer System Link 3DS game. Totally cool if you like Zelda games. Personally, like that one and this one. I'm old school. I like the original Zelda is my favorite. Okay, so here are the Phantom Hourglass. That's one of those ones like Majora's Mask you have to do on a timer. I never like being on a timer. It's too stressful. Snoopy's Grand Adventure. Can't go wrong with Snoopy, right? Harry Potter? Can I have some more, please, sir? Actually, a lot of the Harry Potter games are good if you like kind of action RPG style games. Zookeeper. This one is a puzzle game, right? But it's a lot of fun. I had a great time with Zookeeper. This is one that is a really kind of fun town building sim slash like RPG slash kind of game. It's actually pretty interesting. Tower defense. It's a cool game. You can get ports of that to PS3, PS4, and you know, some of the modern consoles, I believe. Brain Age, if you want to do that. I used to do Brain Age a lot and get my brain going, and I don't know, I guess I slacked on that. I basically mastered it, so I was kind of cheat gaming the system on it, getting higher scores than I probably should have. Lego Star Wars, anything Lego, like I said, anytime you can get those. A lot of them kind of end up being the same, but they are fun games if you enjoy them. Bookworm is fantastic. This is another, again, puzzle, PopCap. Okay, PopCap does Plants vs. Zombies and you know, some of those other ones that are really good. And if you like PopCap games, you'll like this. Very good. I played the crap out of that. I know I talked about it earlier. Oh, puzzle games. Kids don't want to play puzzle games. That's just it. Kids don't really want to play puzzle games, but as you get older, they're a little more fun. Night at the Museum, not bad. I always enjoy playing movie title games. Okay, here we go. Lego Batman. And then this game right here from frickin' Sega Saturn. That was pretty much one of the first games I got for Sega Saturn. I haven't played it on here, but oh man, those games are tough. And then this is, I believe this is called N+. This was given to us by a family member, and I think I played it a little bit. I didn't like it. Here's a look at the back. I think it's kind of like a Maze Runner game in a sense. A lot of platform, maybe a super meat grinder guy. Probably not that difficult as Super Meat Boy, but nonetheless, still difficult. Okay, so let's get on to the loose DS games. I got a pile of these. Got a pile of these bad boys here. So we're going to zoom in and get some of those. I probably shouldn't have done what I just did. Stack them out. So you got another stack just like that. So we're going to get through those. I shouldn't have put these out. Let's zoom in. So this, Jamie Oliver. I think it's like a workout one. I got I Spy Universe. Another PopCap game, Bejeweled 3. Very good. More Brain Age 2. There's a lot of brain training kind of games for the DS. I'm not sure what they were trying to say at the time. People needed to, you know, maybe video games were bad and you got to train your brain. So I think it's Zuzu Pets. That's actually kind of fun. This is a cool game if you haven't played it. Spectral Force Genesis. I believe it was sleeping for a while. It might have gone up in price. But anytime you see something that looks interesting like that with the writing or something you haven't heard of, you're probably in for a treat. And I would buy it if you know, price is right. Here we go. Here's a Double Play World Series, Little League kind of baseball or something. I haven't played it. This one I had to get because it's The Bachelor. I mean, come on, guys. Very cool. And then there's a lot of fun games like this on the DS. Cheetah Girls. Here we go. Impossible Mission. No, not Mission Impossible. Impossible Mission. Don't worry about copyright infringement there. Okay? I promise you, it has nothing to do with the Mission Impossible games. Puzzle Quest. Now, there are versions of this you can get on PS3. You can get it on PS4, different ones. There's one like that has a Marvel theme to it, but the original Puzzle Quest 2, and the one you can get. Actually, it might be the same one that was ported to 4 that was on 3. But anyway, check them out. Look up Puzzle Quest. These games are really good. I highly, highly recommend it. And this is one of the games I was talking about wanting to play on the 3DS that I talked about during the Switch review video. Definitely get yourself. This one is more RPG elements than Puzzle Quest 1. So if you want just a more of a straightforward play, go with the first one. This one has a lot more kind of talking to people and walking through towns and stuff, which is pretty cool. Definitely a good game. Get yourself Puzzle Quest 2. You will not be disappointed. Here we go. Tack. Those are always fun. Platformer slash, you know, Mario or 64 style games. SpongeBob. Are you ready, kids? Boat and Bash. Here we go. My daughter has been watching the crap out of SpongeBob lately. Here we go. This Shrek Super Slam. This in a fringe kind of like Smash spin-off group. Underground kind of group is one. I don't know if people are still smashing on it, but it was a lot of fun. They were playing that kind of in lieu of Smash. This was probably in a time when Smash was stale. Everybody turned to that, so pick it up if you want. It's pretty fun. This right here. Okay, the label's pretty bad on here. I should order an inbox copy. This is probably my favorite game. You can get it on PS3. I didn't know you could get it on DS, but I had it as a digital on PS3, so I had to absolutely get a physical copy. This is probably the best game for me on this platform, hands down. That isn't, you know, one of your main kind of titles. If you have not played this, if you like anything, if you like gaming and thinking and strategy, you will absolutely love this game. I guess it could technically be considered a puzzle game, but you will. That is such a good game. Oh my gosh! All right, I wish they would make a new one. Here we go. Imagine Music. I don't know what that says. Fest. Here's another one. Okay, if you've ever played the Lufia games, there's one on SNES that's rather expensive. A damn crease right there is bugging me. Anyway. If you've ever played Lufia 2 on SNES, it's a rather pricey game. I think it might be up in the $80, $100 range. You could have gotten this version on DS for rather inexpensive. It may be a little more now, but Lufia, pretty good. It's more like the modern Ys, but it's still a cool RPG. And like I said, if you get it for a good price, it's totally worth it. Here goes another mystery finder game. Mystery Case Files, A Million Hair. There's a lot of those on the DS. Again, we got Bakugan. Cool game. Oh, hey, look at that. Actually, I have 2 copies of Lufia. That's weird. Anyhow, here's another TAC game. That might be a dupe as well. I don't know. You end up with dupes. And what the heck is this game? I haven't played this, but I think it's pinball. You tell me. I think it's pinball. Kind of hard to read, isn't it? It's all those damn colors in the texting. So to recap, these are probably my top 4 games that you may or may not have heard of on the DS and 3DS systems. Check them out. Puzzle Quest, Lufia, Might and Magic, Clash of Heroes, absolutely get. Alright, so there's a zoom out shot of my DS loose. On to the next one. And then a quick look at my Game Boy Color, loose. And a look at my inbox collection for Game Boy Color. Gander as you may, pause if you want to look. There's not a lot, but what you see here is quality, right? Okay, so layering of those. Here we go. We'll layer them again real quick. And then a couple more. And then real quick, we'll take a look at the systems, just to give you a final input of the system. So we got the 3DS, the DS, the Game Boy Advance, and then of course the winner of them all, the OG Game Boy. Oh yeah. Alright, well thanks for stopping by, taking a look at my Nintendo handheld collection. Hopefully you saw some stuff here maybe that was new to you, maybe it was interesting, fun, gave you some ideas of maybe what you want to do collecting wise, purchasing. And hey, if you guys like this kind of thing, make sure to come on back, check us back for more here on Brothers Forge Gaming.